Every victory,
Mics are up.
every single sport
Studio is live.
will be cheered.
Welcome inside the locker room.
The great adventure begins. The Locker Room on Smooth 98.1 is brought to you by Nine Mobile. Nine Mobile, here for you, here for Niger.
Good morning and thank you for staying with us. You're listening and tuned in to Smooth 98.1. Smooth Breakfast with Valentine.
And Ayo Mairo Ese. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. It's time for us to talk sports inside of the locker room, and we have Tega Supreme. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning.
Good morning. And it's a rainy morning, well, a cold morning because it rained most of the night, and we hope you stay warm.
Speak for yourself. It didn't rain on my end.
Oh, it did. It rained heavily on my end.
Yeah, really.
So I'm glad you're.
Ayo slept
I'm
through the rain.
You're keeping warm.
Maybe.
She slept through.
But actually, I saw some flood.
See, that's good. That means you slept well.
I did.
Sending messages through WhatsApp to 0809-444-0981, 0809-444-0981. Our first story here, Vincent Ayama's long wait for club football will have to continue after the first league side, Dijon, decided not to offer him a deal despite undergoing trials with them. The former Super Eagles goalkeeper has been without a club since he was released from Lille last summer. He has not played competitive football for over 2 years and was reported to be having trials at Dijon with the hope of securing a deal.
Yeah, at this rate, you're wondering maybe he would retire. I mean, with all the clubs sides looking for players, I know he's 36, and so yes, there's that age thing in Europe. But when a club like Dijon say they don't want you, chances are
Very
it's
demoralizing.
time to hang the gloves and just move on with something else. But he will keep trying. He'll be persistent. You never know what will come out of it. I suggest try China.
Actually, or USA.
Just China is better. Just go to China. There's money there.
Like, how are you like this?
Look, since I'm his sister, let me advise him. They're not looking for you in Europe. Chance you're 36. They think you haven't. Not only have you not played in 2 years, you haven't also competed for your national team, and those things also count when they are doing transfers and the rest. So it will be hard in that market. Go to China.
Right.
Go to China with your resume. In China, they buy resume. In Europe, they buy current form. So go to China with your resume and get a good job and make good money, and then retire from there.
All right, so you heard Tega, your sister, in quotes, advised you. This kind of sister advice is wonderful. All right, let's see what's going on with IAAF and Semenya. So they've hailed Semenya's verdict as victory for, in quote, parity. The governing body of World Athletics has hailed the Swiss court decision that ruled Caster Semenya out of its World Championships as a victory for parity and clarity. They said in a statement, this decision creates much needed parity and clarity for all athletes as they prepare for the World Championships in Doha this September. The IAAF said during the remainder of the SFT hearing it would maintain its position that there are some contexts, sport being one of them, where biology has to trump gender identity.
Okay, so basically they're dancing on her grave. Yes, Epco.
Exactly.
I just wish one, major sponsor of the World Championship says, you know what, for parity too, I'm taking my money out until all athletes can compete equally. Can we do that? And then we'll see whether they'll keep this dance on. Because right now they are gloating that the Swiss court has overturned its ruling in their favor.
Yeah.
And Semenya is going to be at home watching a tournament she should be a championship she should be competing in with the rest of us, and that's just sad. Because truth be told, if I'm going to the World Championships and I'm watching the 800 meters, I want to see Semenya. It's that simple. She's not doping, she's not cheating. There are going to be some athletes there that have doped before that are going to be competing legally. And that time their clarity and parity is not working.
It's not working.
But this one that was born like that is going to be missing out on it. I just really hope that one corporate body would withdraw.
But Okay, so
It
what
made me
what
happy.
are her options? So is she still fighting?
She
So
has,
I know-
yeah, she's still, of course, she's still going to continue to fight legally.
Mhm.
But what it is that if she's going to have to compete in certain races like the 800 meters and the 400 meters, she's going to have to, according to the laws as it stands today, she's going to have to take drugs that will reduce her testosterone production.
But that's not fair.
But that is also going to increase her fatigue because that's what she suffers. So because it's a naturally occurring process in her own case, reducing one would affect the way her system chemically works out. So will affect her own chemical balance, just the same way your own chemical imbalances are. So I'm guess I don't know. Look, those are the only options she has as the law stands today. Take the drugs or not compete. No other chance.
Very sad. Sad for her. I still do not think it's fair, really, to try to alter somebody's natural biological balance, but still. Let's move on to the next story. Dillian White passed VADA anti-doping tests before and after Oscar Rivers' fight, and I like the way Tega you link these two stories. Yeah, medicals. Now, Dillian White passed the VADA anti-doping test before and after his victory over Oscar Rivers, according to sources. Now, the British heavyweight has faced allegations of a failed UK anti-doping test after his points win over Rivers at the O2 last month. But has been notified by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association that he passed his final pre-fight test on the 17th of July and final post-fight test on the 21st. White has maintained his innocence, and promoter Eddie Hearn spoke about how the Brixton man was determined to clear his name. Hearn says, and I quote, "There was an independent hearing and he was cleared to box after providing evidence. Ask yourself why. Maybe the evidence that was provided was sufficient enough to prove he may be innocent. Give him a chance to prove that. Let the facts come out."
Okay, so here is where there is a problem. The BBC has said after adverse findings that he's been stripped of the title. Well, his title has been suspended pending hearing and him defending himself and all of that. Now the VADA test is a voluntary anti-doping test. So they are coming out to say that in their own, when they conducted their own test before the fight and after the fight, he was clean. So where WBC is getting their own tainted sample A from, they don't know. That's what they're saying. For also, we conducted the test like we usually do, and it's voluntary. So we conducted the test before the fight and after the fight, and both are clean. So the BBC coming up with this one saying their own one sample A test is positive. We don't know where it's coming from. So there's conflicting reports now, and I guess we will have to wait till the end of the hearings and the back and forth to understand what the full scale or what the full proportion of this is. But at this point in time, you're beginning to wonder, is it that WBC did not want Rivers to lose the title? Or they don't want Dillian White to be their ambassador? I don't know, or their champion. I don't know what it means for them. But what it is that on one hand, he seems clean. And so the promoter is defending him based on the results of VADA. But WBC are the owners of the title, and they have to come and they have a right to say we did our own test and we're still questioning some things, so they are holding on to their belt. So it's been interesting to see how this turns out, but it is unfolding as it goes, so let's just keep waiting and seeing.
Cruz wants us to organize a cup of tea, coffee, or anything for you, because it feels like the cold is getting to you.
I'm always cold. Coffee and tea doesn't help.
Yeah, Cruz has a lot.
So none of us, Valentine or me,
no, he doesn't care about us.
Coffee or tea. Thanks, Cruz.
It's all about Tega. Raymond says, please leave our president. No, he said, yes, please beg the Abala to come to Man United now. That's from Randolph. Oh, it says Tega, please beg the Abala to come back. Messages come to WhatsApp 0809-444-0981.
On YouTube, we're at Smooth981. You can send us a message there. Quadri Adeoba says, Safa Semania, biology is biology and should trump anything any day. She was born a female and should be able to compete legitimately in camps. Thanks a lot for your comments. Keep them coming in. Let's move on to our next story here. So we're going to be talking Formula One now. Red Bull driver not thinking about title. So Red Bull's Max Verstappen has rejected claims he's favorite for Sunday's Hungarian Grand Prix and a potential title contender. Verstappen had this to say: I don't think we're favorites, but we'll try to do a good job. With Mercedes having had such a dominant start to the season, it is really hard to catch them. We're going to try, but I'm not thinking about the title. Really? For them, being more than 60 points in the lead is massive. They had a bad weekend, but it can also happen to us. It is still a big gap to close.
It's interesting that they're already talking about Max and the title. Are they trying to toss up or make it interesting just because Mercedes had one bad weekend? They've been dominating since the start of the season, and then they have one bad weekend, and all of a sudden people are talking about Max Verstappen and title. Forget that he's 62 points behind Lewis Hamilton, and in between him and Lewis Hamilton there's a certain Valtteri Bottas. But let's just keep talking. Let's try and make it a little interesting. I understand that Max Verstappen has won two races so far, but that's enough to talk about title? Really? Really? And already he's saying, I'm not thinking about the title. My friend, shut up. You shouldn't be thinking about title, Jerry. You should be thinking about finishing your races. But that's what happens when a team starts getting good results. All of a sudden, the conversations change. And there's confidence, there's boldness. The team starts to believe a little differently, and ambitions start to get a little higher. So who was aiming for the hill now is aiming for the skies, and that's just what it is. They're feeling themselves, and they're in a good place. Yeah. So that's what the win does to you. But what Mercedes have to do on this track, and this track, it's a little slower, but it's favorable to Mercedes Benz. However, because of what Red Bull have been, the results Red Bull have tossed up, especially in the last race, even if it was in wet conditions there, they're beginning to look like they can challenge a little bit. Maybe not for the title, but push, but just give Mercedes a kick in the backside. Like, we're still here.
Because if not, it becomes a bit boring if they are the only ones that keep, or it's predictable.
Yeah, I guess that's why the conversations are going on. But Max, calm down. Be humble. It's not like that.
It's some humble pie.
Sit down, be
But
humble.
so today we're going to see from first practice. I think it's at first practice at 8:45. So let's see who's faster and who the tires are working for better. But yes, I guess Red Bull are confident now because of recent results.
All right, let's see just how confident they'll be after the race.
You pessimists. Ridwan sent in a message on WhatsApp. Ridwan says, "Good morning, Tega, Val, and Ayo.
Hello, everyone.
This one that Leicester City have collected the number 8 jersey from Ihanacho. It just goes from bad to worse for him at Leicester. He should go and beg the DBI he offended back in his village." The WhatsApp number is 0809-444-0981. Cruz is back. He says, "Make no verse. Is in the locker room, Tega comes first. Still love you too."
Chai.
Yeah.
I feel bad for people.
I'm going to read this out just so that people can know what they miss and they don't watch the us on our live stream on YouTube. Quadri says, this YouTube is bae. Tega and Valentine fighting over phone charger.
Who's worse though?
Well, in terms of what?
In terms of calling out.
Oh, calling out who?
The Quadri that posted it as a chat on YouTube. The only people who are going to YouTube to watch will see.
Exactly.
And you who now decided to read it.
She's worse.
Like, thank you, Tega. Let's take a break on that note. We'll be back for more sports stories.
Right now, you're listening to Smooth.
Give me
Shout out to you,
give me the charger, Jerry.
Please,
My phone is dying.
2%. Ayo, this is bad for your computer.
Oh, really? What happened?
See what's happening. You put it
Oh,
on.
really? Oh, such a... You guys, can you see Valentine is a nice man? Oh, nice.
I beg, let me hear
Nice
what.
man. You won't be looking out for people. They're
Nice
nice man. Look at you, you're so proud. You're so proud. You not even one will say, no, Ayo, we're all nice in the studio. That's 3, 4, 4.
Oh.
I am too cold for this life. And my back is. Allow me to charge my phone. You should have charged your phone during freshness. This is not the life I planned. I planned sleep. I swear. I can't wait to see Mr. Oche today to tell him that next week is not happening.
Jeez.
Mr. Oche,
You got to rest.
next week is not happening.
You need the rest.
You know what's even upsetting me? I don't even have money to travel, so I don't like to
Just
rest
lock
next
yourself
week.
up somewhere
I
and
can't
chill.
do. I can't do that. I can't do.
Chill. Wabako.
Now mobile, here for you, here for Nigeria.
Glad to know you're there listening to the Locker Room 981 here on Smooth 98.1. It's a part of Smooth Breakfast with me, Valentine, and Ayo. And we have Tega Supreme in the studio with us. Send messages to WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. Our next story is about Arsenal. Arsenal have completed a signing of Ivory Coast winger Nicolas Pepe from Lille for a club record fee. The Gunners paid, wait for it, 72 million euros. Tega, please confirm if I'm saying right.
Can you read? Are your glasses working?
Yes.
And yeah, what you're
Appears to
seeing
be
is the correct.
for the 24-year-old who's believed to have signed a 5-year deal. After confirming Pep signing, Unai Emery said, Nicholas is a highly rated and talented winger who was wanted by many of the top teams in Europe. Signing a top-class winger has been one of our key objectives in this transfer window, and I'm delighted he's joining. He will add pace, power, and creativity with the aim of bringing more goals to our team. Wow.
Well, this is what I can say. Number one is this is a win for Africa because Pepe, that guy is from Ivory Coast, so first win.
You know what I'm thinking in my head? Pepe them gang.
I'm
telling you, like in your face.
First win Africa for that amount of money. But secondly, it would be how much money is being spent on a player that yes had a remarkable season last time out, but 72 million. Maybe I'm still stingy. Maybe I myself and Arsene Wenger belong to the same WhatsApp group, but that's just a lot of baby food to be spending on this. I'm sorry. I'm not even on a
this
week.
Is adulthood.
Look, I know that he'll bring at least, well, he's supposed to bring at least 23 or so goals a season. But Arsenal's biggest problem is not goals. It's not that they don't score goals, it's that they concede a lot of goals. Yeah. How much are we spending on defense if we're spending this money on attackers? So I think if you ask me, I'm not spending this kind of money. There's no way I'm paying this money for a Nicolas. This is the kind of money I will pay for maybe which striker do I count? Which forward player do I count? Maybe I would spend this kind of money on a Dele Alli, tested and trusted in the league. Okay. 1 or 2 injuries, yes, but tested and trusted in the league.
But it sounds discriminatory to me.
How? Why?
Why Dele? Why not Pepe?
No, Dele is not. It's not. He doesn't even affiliate with Nigerians. Just leave the name. That Dele name is doesn't do anything. He just doesn't have any choice but to. He doesn't have any chance but to keep that name. If he had his way, he would have changed that name to Smith. Since it doesn't even send. You understand? But he's, like I said, he's tested and trusted season after season in the Premiership. That's the. But this is because sometimes people are very good in France, but it's French football, and you know how French football is quite easygoing. So if you have a little bit of physicality, you can thrive there. You bring that person to England, and it may be a tough one for them because England is like rushing a damn full bus. Everything is, I'm telling you, is power and pace. Sometimes people just crack under that pressure. So to pay that kind of money for, number one, a winger, number two, an untested winger, not a player of high repute. I would, again, like I said, I'm not the kind of person to be trading this market because I'm Arsene Wenger in my mind. But let's not say, so that Arsenal will not say that they didn't try in the market. They've tried in the market. However, their problem is not in front. Their problem is in the back. Okay. So fix that back. And you may not need
the front.
You may not need Pepe's goals. You already have Aubameyang and Lacazette's goals. That's my point. You may not need an extra Pepe's goals if you fix the leak in the back, and what a leak it is.
Okay. Can we start talking about sides now? Good morning. Morgan Always on YouTube says Wada took his early morning urine sample while WBC took the one with the Aloma bitter. My goodness.
But they also took after.
More stories that I'm about to get to. On WhatsApp, our number is 0809 444 0981. That's 0809 444 0981.
And please do not leave our Twitter handle behind. You are Smooth91FM. Use the hashtag LockerRoom91. So
Thank you.
frustrated Harry Maguire to miss Leicester City friendly amid Manchester United interest. So Maguire is set to miss Leicester's friendly against Atlanta amid interest in the defender from Manchester United. Now, this is according to Sky sources. The England defender has made it clear to Leicester that he wants to join Manchester United. Who wouldn't? Now, United are prepared to pay £80 million, but it is understood that Leicester wants £85 million. United do not want to spend that much on the central bank, though.
This is crazy. However, United need centre backs. They don't need just one. Which is my issue. They need more, and maybe that's why they're saying that 85 million is too much to spend on Harry Maguire. And if you ask me, I think Leicester just pushing it a tad bit because they know Manchester want to spend 80 million. What's 5 million extra? But
What's 5 million? They should come and give me 5 million.
No, but do you understand what they're doing? They're pushing it. How far can we push this envelope before we get ridiculous amounts of money? Because they know Manchester United I need. Again, Harry Maguire is worth a lot of money if you ask me. A very good defender. He's proven himself in the league. His positioning, for club and country. His positioning, his physicality. He doesn't just defend very excellently. He also gets goals from set pieces, and he's very good to defend when you are under aerial threat. He's he makes one or two mistakes here and there, but he's the kind of defender any team would welcome, and he will come into any team and still get a starting position. But I think Leicester want to hold on to him for as long as they can, or as much as they can, and then rip off teams like Manchester United that are desperate to get defenders.
Yes.
And that's why they're saying, okay, maybe not 80 million, maybe 85. Why did you just say 80.1 million? I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
How far can we push? But the player is getting frustrated here, and here's what you don't want. You don't want a player who has lost all desire to help you. I'm not saying he won't be professional. I'm just saying their heart will not be in it, and in as much as they are professional enough and they want to win, it can tell. So let the player go, please. Don't be Pharaoh of Egypt.
And shout out to our 2.2 million subscribers on YouTube.
2.2 million.
Sorry, I'm choosing my
Are you
alphabet.
prophesying?
I'm choosing my own
All
alphabet.
right,
Thank you.
Right, so let's
Quadri
go.
on YouTube here says, at Tega, I think the market is outrageous, and to get what you want, one has to pay through their nose. Manchester United and CFC paid over 70 million for Lukaku and Morata.
Lukaku and Morata played in at the top clubs for clubs in Europe. Not Nicolas Pepe. Okay, honestly, let's ask, how many of you knew Nicolas Pepe before Arsenal were interested in him?
I called him Pep this morning.
Exactly.
How many of you?
did too.
Let's be honest with ourselves. So let's not stop saying all these things.
All right. Okay. Well, Roundup says Nicolas is a neutralizer. Arsenal concedes 20. Pepe scores 23. And in the end, not such a bad season. I like that they're not even gone in for the league.
People are just mean.
Mean.
Now, Zinedine Zidane said he hoped Gareth Bale had been training after reports suggested the Real Madrid forward was playing golf while his teammates were competing at the Audi Cup.
Yeah.
After being told about the reports and accompanying photos, Zidane said, I hope he trained there. We're here thinking about the team. According to Spanish media outlets El Confidencial, the photos of Bale playing golf were taken during the Los Blancos 1-0 defeat by his former club Tottenham on Tuesday. When asked if Bale's attitude bothered him, Zidane said, well, we'll see when we get back.
Children.
I will not prevent someone from doing something. He has to look after his responsibilities. We'll see what he has done in Madrid. I will not get into his personal life, but I think he has done training.
Okay, so here's what it is. They already nicknamed him the golfer. So he's notorious for going to play golf.
Wow. While his teammates are playing football.
And then they now have pictures of you playing golf when your team was especially losing.
Wow.
It's not Like if your team was winning just a little bit, maybe Zizou will not be so upset. But you were dropped because you were not fit enough to travel. And then you're going to play golf. You better be training. That golf.
But see, this is what you're saying about Maguire. You want to leave. They don't want you to go. So would you?
No, but you can't play golf. You have to be professional.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Your
heart is not in it.
No, your heart's not in it, but your profession better be in it. They're paying money for you. You think it's beans? It's not calories they're paying. Look at the amount of money they paid for one Nicolas Pepe, and I'm already upset, and I'm right over here. Arsenal is of my father's club, and I'm angry. So you can imagine what it is. They're spending so much money on you, and you're golfing.
Yeah.
So Zizou is saying the least you can do, and this probably is part of one of the reasons why Zizou said him leaving would have been best for everybody. And so it's all this attitude problems that that would cause Zizou to talk like that. And when you already have a history with your coach, you want to set things right, not going out to play extra golf. But let's wait and hear the concluding part of the story. They said the pictures were taken during the 1-0 loss. It could have been at halftime. It could have been after the match.
And he strolled out in 10 minutes.
And then let's give him the benefit of a doubt and hear what the reports from Zizou's investigation says.
Okay.
But what he needs to do is he needs to start getting in line with the club if he wants to stay.
Yes, because the way they are responding to his
they already, because they know you that you are notorious for playing golf. Then you now go and play golf again.
Big boy.
The golfer.
Imam from Agege says Arsenal are paying £20 million up front and the remaining 52 million over the 4 years. Alex bought RVP to outscore opponents and win the league. So
again, don't compare RVP to Nicolas Pepe. Like I said, who was Nicolas Pepe before Arsenal looked at him? How many of you knew him?
Tega, sorry, that's just half the message.
I'm just upset. How can I be comparing RVP, a proven goal scorer in EPL?
Maybe Emery wants to outscore the opponents to make the top 4, considering that organizing them in defense is tougher than letting them be creative. That's Ima from Agege, not Val. Chimobi Victor says, welcome Nicolas Pepe to Arsenal because we are winning.
They were
the
so
EPL.
excited.
Yes.
You would think that they're already giving them the trophy.
Just a ray of hope.
Yeah.
Now, Dennis from Aguda says Arsenal only paid 20 million for now. They are going to pay the rest between 5 years or within 5 years. Thank you very much. Cruz says, Wallahi, Madrid and Zidane are in trouble this season. Bill go test their patience. Gone. Tega, the Jebu Delta girl. Biko, leave Pepe. All the village people are celebrating.
They are all collecting their tithes.
She says Zidane asking if Bill is training. Bill is not just playing golf, but including table tennis and video surf. He should meet me. And okay, thank you very much for that message. And quick one from Victor Osai. Victor here says Real Madrid should allow Bill compete in the PGA Golf Championship. He could bring the clubs some more money if he makes top placing in the competition, in any competition. He says. More messages.
All right, this one here is from Martin from Aja. Martin says, Tega and Ayo, Pepe may not be a bad deal for Arsenal. The best form of defense is what? Attack. So if Arsenal is getting attacking players, it's not such a bad thing after all. At least when he scores one, the defense will let him sleep. Oh my days. All right, then Cruz Ayen is back. He says, I see Bad Max going all out this weekend. I just hope we don't have crashes. I am 100% in support of competitive racing, and the messages keep flowing in. We have this one here from Big E from K2. Big E says, Tega, tell them Arsenal need to strengthen their behind well. I must tell you it is weak. We need it. If they need money, I can give them. So he wants to give them money. Chimobi Victor says, for me, Zinedine Zidane shouldn't complain about Gareth Bale at all. After all, he said he's not in his plan. So keep playing golf.
What we're going to do after this is pay some bills, and we'll come back at the top of the hour and then chat for a Feel Good Friday.
Feel Good Friday.
Tega, thank you so much for being part of this show as always. I mean, without you, we won't be here anyway. So the locker room, the locker room 981. Let's continue the conversation on social media on Twitter at Smooth981FM with the hashtag locker room 981. Tweet at Tega Supreme or at LIS International if you're interested in ladies in sports, because we all are. Stay with us on Smooth 98.1.
This is Torpedo Moscow, and this is your love music, love life station.
So tell me, Junior, what is the difference?
People just